Well, hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we're on episode 2 of season 5 of Natsume's Book of Friends, aka episode 54, and we're also finishing up our discussion of the manga that correlates with season 4 of Natsume's Book of Friends, which will be volume 12. So I really love looking at the manga. Looking at the manga is so much fun. I look forward to it at the end of each season. I have become aware, though, that as I've been purchasing the manga, because I want to support the official release, I want to support the mangaka, so I've been ordering them digitally online through Barnes and Noble, but I've been ordering it through them to read and supporting the official release, and there's a lot of volumes of manga. I think there are going to be more volumes of manga than there are 7 seasons. So that's exciting because that means that the seasons of anime should continue for Natsume's Book of Friends, which is really exciting. But I've become keenly aware of that. So we're going to talk about volume 12 before we get into this. I don't have any comments as of yet to talk about before, but that may change next week. But so, okay, volume 12 of the manga. It wraps up a lot from seasons 3 and 4, and I was like, okay, we're wrapping everything up, which is exciting. I did check to see for seasons 3 and season 4 which episodes were anime only after I read volume 12, because I was like, I want to just get it all out of the way. There was one question I had for the comments down below, but I figure y'all are going to answer those questions. But so season 3, episode 1 of season 3 is covered in volume 12, which I was like, what? Okay. Volume 12 that finishes out the content for seasons 4 and seasons 3 covers episode 1 of season 3, which we'll talk about in a second, episode 4 of season 4, which I'm glad that that was not anime only. I was like, okay, awesome. And then episodes 6 and 7, which I was so glad was not anime only. I was like, it's too good to be anime only. It has to be in the manga as well. So that leaves Ukihara Village from season 3, which was episode 2. That's an anime only episode, which that was a really good episode. So I'm surprised it was anime only. And then season 4, episode 8, When I Was Deceived, Rule of 8 being anime only is wild. I'm not surprised that that one is anime only, because even though I love getting Nanase's backstory and getting more with her, I'm not surprised the manga doesn't have a chapter focusing on it. However, the mangaka has worked with the staff on this series, so I would not be surprised if the mangaka was like, yeah, this is technically canon, but we didn't get time to put it in the manga, so here you go. I thought that was interesting. The only question I had was episode 8 of season 3 is called The Fox's Watch, and I could believe it's anime only, but online it didn't list it, so I was like, and it could be because the mangaka does lots of little side chapters in each of the manga, like little, like the Natsume's observation log or Nyanko Sensei's observation log. I wonder, we've had the fox spirit be in those little extra chapters before, so I won't be surprised moving forward if we see him in those chapters and they're just like a compilation of all the extras put together to make episode 8. I'm gonna leave season 3, episode 8, The Fox's Watch, in my notes as being anime only with a question mark by it, because I'm not exactly sure, but that's the only episode up through season 5. Episode 8 of season 3 is the only one that I like have notes of maybe it's anime only. Everything else we will have covered. So we're caught up. The completionist in me feels so good hearing that. I was like, oh, because it was driving me crazy. At the end of the manga read for season 3, I was like, there were so many episodes unaccounted for, and I was like, are these all anime only? Was half the season anime only? And then as we started getting through the manga here for season 4, I was like, okay, no, we've put all of this into place. Okay. So I feel so much better now. It's like, I also read that it listed, now I did not read past season 4 because spoilers, didn't want to do that. So I only saw a post that listed up through season 4 of the anime only, and I was like, They did say that the OVAs that we watched the last couple of weeks were anime only. Not surprised. But yeah, so I didn't read beyond that. So I'm spoiler free from here on in. Season 5 and beyond, I am spoiler free, which has me very, very excited to see what we're going to get. But let's talk about this manga, because manga volume 12 was really, really good. I liked it. This is one of my favorite covers so far. The cover of Nyanko Sensei. Nyako Sensei has Natsume with the cake in one hand and the jar and the fork sticking out of his mouth while Natsume sleeps. Hilarious. Love it. There are some, I will say, the mangaka, the last several volumes, has made Nyako Sensei such a treasure. And I cannot wait to show you some of these panels because I was giggling as I was reading. I loved it. But this is one of my favorite covers. I really, really, really enjoy it. And I like in the background all of the different little trinkets in the jars. And then Nyanko Sensei giving Natsume as he's sleeping one of those. I really like this cover with Reiko and the little yokai that have the leaves. I think that that's really interesting. She's holding her shoes, which I know has some connotation in Japan. So I'm curious, like, is she near the sea? Is she on a beach? Is she in water? Curious about Reiko in general, right? So yeah. Episode 4 of season 4, which was about the yokai that was trying to like figure out what the letter said from the girl that he helped. That's where we start out the volume, which is so crazy to me. If any of this episodes had been anime only, I would have guessed it was this one, but no, it's like a whole chapter. It's just a chapter, but it's still a really cute little side story. The first editorial from Midori Kawa says, "Hello, I'm Midori Kawa. This is my 20th total graphic novel. I'm so happy to get to mark another milestone as a manga artist." Yeah, 20 volumes of anything is incredible. "Thank you to everyone who has followed along on my journey. I'd like to continue having fun making interesting manga, so please keep up your support." In March of 2011, it's been a long time ago, like 14 years, which is insane. In March of 2011, there was a great and terrible earthquake in Japan. I would like to express my deepest sympathy to everyone who has lost loved ones. May the dead rest in peace and those left behind find some solace. I wondered if any of that would get discussed in this manga, but that's, I'm also thinking of Link Click, which is a donghua from China that kind of deals with a similar issue in there. So yeah, oh my God. So to add to the levity after that heartfelt editorial, this is maybe my favorite panel of Nyanko Sensei ever. I laughed so hard at this, where he's like, "You got some nerve," and he's pop with his little paws as he's biting the little yokai. This is maybe my favorite panel of Nyanko Sensei. I freaking love it. It's so him, and I cannot get enough of it. I'm like, yes, it's so good. It's so good. Then the next chapter is season 3, episode 1. Just wild. I'm sure that the people that were manga readers, as they watched the anime, they were like, "We are skipping around." But I really liked this chapter a lot. And there were a couple added moments I thought were really, really good. The second editorial is called Hotarubi no Morie. I wrote a short story called Hotarubi no Morie a while back, and director Omori and the staff for the Natsume anime made it into a 40-minute anime. It was also blessed with talented voice actors who gave life to an innocent yet sweet and strong Hotaru, and a mysterious Gin, who isn't human but grows to face his confusing human emotions. Oh, it's scheduled to air on September 17th, 2011. I want to see this! I might have to write this down. This is interesting. I kind of want to see this OVA. If anybody in the Natsume Discord on Patreon has access to this OVA or knows where I can watch it, please send me a link, and we may have to make that an extra in April or something, because that sounds amazing, actually. But, so yeah, given where season 5, episode 1 started, where we start to get more on Reiko, and I've had my theories about her from last week, I thought that these chapters kind of expanded on that in a really interesting way. So Natsume, from the one yokai spirit, gets the mirror back, and the mirror was exchanged between Reiko and the spirit. But what I liked was that at the very end, the yokai who can't see talks about how Natsume reminds her of Reiko. And at the very end of the chapter, Natsume says, I feel the warmth from the Book of Friends. So again, talking about how it could be possible that Reiko kept the Book of Friends as a means of savoring those bonds between her and the yokai and not letting those slip away. Because Natsume wonders for a moment, he's like, did Reiko come to hate the yokai? But as we're seeing through the Book of Friends, I don't think that's the case. I think she loved the yokai. This was just her way of keeping that. And he's like, and so then I really like this last page of the chapter where Natsume has the crushed teacup. And he's like, even if they pass unnoticed by others, these little things give me strength deep in my heart. Which is basically Natsume saying, like, even though it seems like Reiko may not have liked the yokai or humans, the little gestures, like he notices that she exercises the tree at the end after she gave the yokai their name back. So after she found out the old woman was, after Reiko found out that the old woman was a yokai, she still exercised the tree to help the yokai. So when Natsume was questioning whether Reiko hated the yokai after she found out the truth, the answer is no, she still did the right thing and helped. So she didn't hate him. So I love that Natsume notices these little observations and keeps those with him. And he's like, I know that she did not hate the yokai based on her actions, and they speak louder than any words she could say, and they give him strength that he's doing the right thing. Love. So then we have episode 6 and 7 from season 4, the Through the Glass, and then the gap between humans and yokai. This manga adaptation was really good, but Nyanko Sensei as Natsume, the expressions that he gives, where he's just like he's so disgusted. Like, it is so wild and hilarious to see Natsume look so grumpy and angry, and Natsume's like, oh my god, like, amazing. Interesting how Nyanko can only be Reiko and Natsume. People he's seen a lot. Doesn't it all go with my theories from last week? Not one bit. I'll keep my theories. I could be wrong. I'm ready to be wrong, but... So then we have editorial number 3 that says, colors. I was never fond of using the color blue for some reason, but after they made Natsume into an anime and I saw its vivid world of full color, I think my perception of color has changed a little. It's almost like what I first assumed was blue was actually gray, and what I assumed was light purple turned out to be pink. It was a very small difference, but it feels very strange. So now deep blues and purples seem so beautiful that I'm obsessed with them these days. Interesting. Okay. I mean, it is cool when you see a certain color, like, in a different context. I can definitely see that. So we get the whole thing in these chapters with Tanema interacting with Natsume. I love that the English translation of this manga, every time Nyanko Sensei pops up in front of Tanema, he's like, oh my god, Ponta! Like, it's almost a running gag at this point that every time Nyanko Sensei just pops in, Tanema says, oh my god, Ponta. It's just the oh my god. I can't imagine these characters saying oh my god, so the English translation makes it really funny to me. But yeah, so we have the whole situation. Again, the mangaka, Midorikawa, is making Nyanko Sensei look so adorable. I love this panel where Tanema's staring in the jar trying to see Natsume and he can't see him. And Nyanko Sensei's on the other side like, I can see something you can't. It's just like, I love it. It's hilarious. But also, Midorikawa has made Tanema, like, the eyes, the shading on the eyes, the way the Tanema's expressions just slay me. I'm obsessed with how they draw Tanema on this page. And in this chapter set, he looks amazing. I absolutely love it. It's just so good. So good. And then, of course, we get Tanema and Natsume on the cover for chapter 50. I will say, I believe that's supposed to be a paintbrush and some paper that Tanema has in his hand for writing and doing calligraphy. But when I first looked at it, it looked like an arrow. Like he'd grabbed Matoba's arrow and snapped it. And I kind of am all for that interpretation too. I know it's wrong, but I like the idea that Matoba brings about this anxiety to Natsume and Tanema is the polar opposite. And so I'm like, yes, please. Yes. Also want to make a note. In the anime, when Notori shows up in the disguise around Tanema, you know instantly that it's Notori. Like, they show a glimpse of his blonde hair and you're like, oh, it's Notori. In the manga, you really don't know at first if it's Notori. There's no indication that it is. Now, if you listen to what he says and his body language, you could figure it out pretty quickly. But I do appreciate that Midori Kawa doesn't give it away. You kind of question, you're like, is this Notori? Is it another exorcist? Who is this? Is it a yokai? I'm glad that they don't immediately give away the ghost, that they do, no pun intended, but they do make you question it before finding out that it's Notori. I really liked that. I thought that was clever. So the fourth editorial says drama CD. They made a drama CD that comes out with the September issue of Lala that's coming out July 23rd. The anime scriptwriters wrote a wonderful original story, and the actors gave it life. Please check it out. I wonder which OVA the drama CD covers. Comment down below. So we get the rest of the chapter, and then again, my last one of Nyanko Sensei, but I like that during the whole incident where Tanama is rescuing Natsume from the yokai at the banquet, we see Nyanko Sensei running by with the bottle of sake on his back and the squid hanging out of his mouth. If this does not encapsulate Nyanko Sensei's journey throughout this episode set, I don't know what does. But I also, again, the mangaka, the Midori Kawa, being so consistent, every time Notori reveals himself, Natsume's expression doesn't matter. Every time Notori reveals himself and tries to put on the charm, Natsume's unamused expression, it cracks me up every time. He's just like, I love it. I also like the gecko peeking in on Notori's arm. That's a really good touch. Oh, okay. This little like mid-chapter spread where Tanama has the flannel and looks so cute, and Nyanko Sensei is like up in his business asking about the Beats headphones he's wearing, and then Natsume is passed out behind him on the bed. Given vibes. Given vibes. I'm sorry if you've not watched Given, go do it immediately. But Given vibes with this. Midori Kawa, you are not helping in the fuel of this ship. Just saying. I really like that a lot. And so then, I can't remember in the anime if this happens this way, but Nyanko Sensei disguising himself as Reiko, in the manga, he just bursts in. He's like, be quiet, pipsqueaks, and bursts in. And I don't know if it's as dramatic in the anime as it is in the manga. I can't remember, but I really, really, really like it. And I really like that we just got in last week's episode, Tanama getting notified about Reiko and Natsume sitting down and telling him about her. Back in season 4, half a season ago, we have Tanama asking who's Reiko, and I love Natsume and Nyanko Sensei turning at the same time. Natsume looks terrified because he doesn't want to tell Tanama about Reiko, and in last week's episode we find out why. And Nyanko Sensei is like, beats me. Like, not telling you. You don't need to know. Wild. Well, now Tanama knows, so it doesn't matter. The fifth editorial says, Natsume's Anthology, Summer. To commemorate the anime broadcast, they're going to publish a collection of reprinted episodes from the manga, a super cute comic strip, and an original story by the anime scriptwriter on July 8th, 2011. I'm deeply grateful. I love all the Natsume content that we've gotten. It's so, so good. So yeah, and then Notori's speech to Natsume is a lot clearer in the manga than it is in the anime. And I kind of blame the translation through the streaming service for that. But when Natsume's having his breakdown, Notori talks to him. And I really like this panel where Notori's like, you're strong. And then he adds this that I don't think was in the anime, because he says, keeping friends safe from the world got too complicated for me. I broke ties with all of them a long time ago. I don't know how to advise you, but you shouldn't give them up. It might be hard now, but you need them. You need these people. And I was like, okay, because in the anime, we kind of guessed after the episode. We're like, okay, did he separate ties like what Natsume is thinking about doing? And the manga confirms it, that yeah, Notori separated all of his ties from his friends. He ran away, became a full-blown exorcist. And now the acting thing is just kind of like this parasocial way for him to interact with people. But he's like, Natsume, no, I feel like Notori's like, getting an acting gig is not easy. So unless you can find an acting gig, Natsume, you really need these friends, because otherwise who are you going to socialize with? I feel like it's Notori's way of saying, you don't need to become part of the exorcist circle. I got in and now I can't get out. You need to stay away from the exorcist circle, but you also need friends. I love that Tori's like, don't do what I did because I don't think it's going to work for you. Love that extra business there. And then at the very end of the chapter set, we have Tanama getting on to Natsume. And I really like how the manga translation worded this. He's like, I turned into a liability for everyone. I know I'm not the best at social interactions. We're supposed to be friends, but I'm not sure what we can talk about. I don't want to pry. You don't have to tell me anything you don't want to, Natsume. But you finally told me that you can see yokai. And yet I keep wondering if you regret having told me. I don't want a rift to form between us because of this. Like, I love how just honest Tanama is in this moment. And the manga, I think, does a good job of explaining his worries. And then when he goes up there and he goes, it sucks. It should have brought us closer. And he worries that it hasn't. And so I'm glad that after this episode set in the manga and in the anime, Natsume seems to be doing little things to try and bring Tanama in closer. So last week's episode, for example, with Natsume telling Tanama about Reiko, that's just him letting Tanama in on that world, which is what Tanama wants. He wants to be there to support Natsume. So I really, really like that. But then he's like, what should I do? He's like, Mr. Notori and Reiko, they drove people away. He's like, am I supposed to do the same? But Notori's like, no, don't do that. So fun times. So then we have the afterword. Thank you for reading. Natsume went back to his childhood home in the previous volume, and now he's starting to be able to come face to face with his true feelings of loneliness. It is a joy to draw him. I think he finally realized what most of us take for granted, and that it's okay to show emotions. There's a sort of catharsis that comes from taking down these walls he's built, bit by bit, but the walls also keep some things safe all these years. Ah, I love that. Yeah. I love the idea of just Natsume slowly bringing down his walls and letting people in, but also that's kept him safe. And last week's episode kind of talks a little bit about that as well. Chapter 47, Answer Instead. My original plan was to do the In the Bottle episode as a two-parter, but then I started to do 2 one-shot stories, and that made me quite nervous. Natsume met and then had to say goodbye to yet another yokai. He's grown so much more from his previous experiences. I felt strangely lonely and happy at the same time. I'm also quite fond of the way that Karikami looks. If I saw this big pale thing standing in the dark forest, I think I'd faint. Yeah, Natsume handles the yokai with a lot of tact, honestly, all things considered. And chapter 48 was Name of the Mysterious One, which is Name of the Monster. They use this story as the first... Oh, okay, good. They use this story as the first episode of the 3rd season of the anime. The Ghost Cup was something I had come up with for my very first draft for the very first episode of the manga, but I had to edit it out at the time because I wasn't able to incorporate it well enough into the story yet. I had totally forgotten about it, but when I drew Natsume picking up the broken pieces, it reminded me that I started this manga precisely because I wanted to draw this kind of story. It made me feel so actually grateful that I've been able to continue working on Natsume. I'm glad that there's some acknowledgement that this was in a certain season. Chapters 49 through 51, Beyond the Glass. Tanama wants to help and tries to help, and those are bold, but he can't. The more he tries to take action, the more he comes up against this wall. Natsume gradually realizes that while he wants to talk with Tanama, it also puts him in a dilemma. Seeing this, Notori wants to say, I told you so, but he hopes that Natsume will be able to succeed where he failed. I was also excited that I could draw Sensei and Natsume with expressions that he doesn't usually make. Natsume is really not very expressive with his face. I'm glad that Notori was like, I told you so, that this was going to be hard, but also he wants Natsume to succeed where he did not. Speaking of Notori, I really like this just panel of him with the lizard, the ghost yokai, the lizard yokai beside him. The 3rd season of the anime is set to air at night, but the day before this volume goes on sale in Japan. I would like to thank the director, the animation staff, voice actors, and all the fans and viewers who made it the first 2 seasons possible. And thank you so much to my dear readers. I finally reached the 50 episode mark. I still have many stories I want to write, and I would like to continue writing them for a very long time. I think that is so wild that she finished she finished the Name of the Monster chapter and had it published right as the 3rd season came out. That is, the timing of that is insane. So yeah. So yeah, that was volume 12. I really love reading the manga. I love reading the manga. I think it's so fun. And I always look forward to it. So now I won't be looking at the manga again until we finish season 5. But that was so much fun. So yeah, season 5 is already off to a great start with this last week's episode. And so I'm really excited to see moving forward where we go to from here. So thank you all so much for being so kind. I hope you enjoyed the manga discussions. I'm excited to hear your comments about that down below. But with that being said, we don't need to waste any more time. I've talked for like 25 minutes about this volume. So let's get started with episode 2 of season 5, shall we? We're going to start that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I might turn the sound down just a hair. Oh yeah, and there's like the little shrine with the flowers. All right. And the little cattails, they're in the ED too. And there's spider lilies with the yokai. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. I find it interesting with the little Buddhist monk markers. Oh, and petunias or pansies. I feel like that's like maybe a sign of some more spirituality in this season. And Reiko being a focus. I love Natsume trying to find out about his grandmother. If that's a focus of the season, like a thread, I'm down with that. And the kappa. Aww. I like that we see all the yokai, and then we see like the red thread and the blue threads with all of his friends. I just noticed Nyako like eating this squid. He's got the squid all over his face. You zooming in on that damn book of friends. A little drum beat there. Your treat. Is it gonna rain? You're sure not in this manga, aren't you, Sasada? We have to have our lady quota for the day in the episodes. Aww. Oh. Oh no! Y'all didn't bring your umbrellas? Oh. Hello, random girl. Hello, random girl. Who are you? I mean, they're like, how did he get this random umbrella? Yeah, good for you, Nishimura. I mean, just do it. Oh. Oh, well, that is definitely a yokai. Oh no. Well, that's not wrong. Oh, she's gonna want it back. Oh, it's so creepy, girl. Mischievous rain. Mischievous rain. Nyako. You just changed into clean clothes. True. Oh, well, shit. Shit! Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god, everywhere. Everywhere. No, don't just throw it out in the yard. Oh my god. She'll be there, right? Okay. Oh my god, why? Are we gonna get to see her face? That's so creepy. Ah! Oh! Oh! Oh, that's creepy. A mochi monster! Oh my god. He's like little peeps. Oh. Oh, okay. Ah. I like the music in the background. It sounds like a person humming. Oh. Oh, her skills are exactly like yours. Great. Oh my god. Oh. Nyanko's like, yeah, sure. I don't know how you're gonna find that man. That lead is awful. Oh! Oh, she's so cute. Ah! No, no, no! Sass! The sass! Oh my god. Damn! Toko got you salmon for breakfast? Girl. Aww. She kind of reminds me of the fox spirit a little bit, where she's so tiny. I love her drawing of the handsome man. Mmm. Oh. Aw. And I guess if he holds his hand out, they can't really notice. Oh, I mean, is she talking about Nishimura? But I don't think that's the case because it's not his towel. Oh! 50 years ago! Oh no, honey. Oh my god. Oh, honey. Oh, is this episode gonna try and make me cry? Is it gonna try to? Because he's gonna be an old man now, or he's gonna die. Nyako just. Because the fact that she calls him handsome, but if he's this old man, oh, Sho, you gonna break my heart? You're so weak! Hang in there, Natsume-sama! You can't die here! Ah! Oh no. I wonder what she's a yokai of. Oh, we're gonna get into that. I don't know. His voice is so soft. Kamiya, my dude. Yonko's tiny little paws. He's so fat. Oh. Oh. A man, a handsome man business, his granddaughter. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Shit, no! Bad talk! Oh. Oh no. Damn it. No, Natsume! No, oh. Damn it. You did. That won't seem stalkerish at all. Oh no. Like I didn't phrase it right. See, I'm helping a ghost find... Could have, Sasada. Oh no! Oh no. Oh yeah! Oh no. Oh no. Oh, oh no. Oh no! She was just being nice. Oh, poor Nishimura. Heartbroke City. There. That's rough, buddy. Ah! Poor Nishimura. Oh my god, look how fat Yaka Sensei is on that. Now, she's gonna think you're stalking her for real. Oh. Ooh. Did he pass away a long time ago? Oh. 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 Okay. Okay. Oh, wow, and him being called a liar. Like, we've seen all that. I mean, he's probably never going to see her again, so it's okay. Mm. Mm. I wonder if he's like in an assisted living or isn't able to travel as much. Aww. Oh, wow. 50 years ago, and he's that old? He's probably really old now. Oh, and he can see her. Oh, wow. Oh. Wow, he could see her. Okay, so there are other people that aren't just exorcists that just randomly could see yokai. Okay. I've been waiting to get that, you know. Oh, her little grotto. Oh. But he didn't take the bus. Oh. Oh. Oh, he couldn't see her that day. Oh. So why just that once? Oh. Well, of course there'd be a stipulation. Wow, so she's like a little weather yokai. Oh, wow. Okay, so I like this world building of there being special circumstances, which we've kind of seen with yokai before. Oh, no. Oh, dang. Oh, wow. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh. Don't make me cry, show. Don't make me do it. Don't you dare. No. Nope, don't you dare. And that's when he's like, no, we're gonna go see him. Damn it! Baka! That girl is gonna be like, she's gonna file a restraining order. Yeah! Hmm. Oh, you would, show. You would. Oh my god, no! Oh my god. Well, he is old at this point. Oh my god. Kurosaki? Are we related to Ichigo? Ah! That's precious. So precious. You better let this in happily, show, or I'm gonna be mad. Don't you dare. Show, be nice. Not too much. Oh, wow. Oh, that's funny that he thought of that though. Oh. Mmm. Mm. Oh, I love the way he says that. Nyanko. Come on, Nyanko sensei. Ah. Oh. Show, you're gonna make me cry. Don't you dare. Wow, yeah. Yeah, a single encounter forever. That's such a good way of saying it. Oh. Oh. That was such a one-off thing. That was such a, like, one moment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh. Oh. That's so sweet. Oh. He's like, my daughter did say you were a stalker. Oh. 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 Oh, I love her just like levitating down. Oh. Oh. Nyanko's like, meh. I didn't cry. Take that, show. Take that, show. You were going to try to make me, but it didn't work. Oh my God. How dare you? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I see how it is. This was such a good episode. Oh. I can't wait to talk about it. It was really good. I still love the ditto face from Natsume and the Edie there. It's so funny. And the dragonflies. And the sunset. And, oh. I love the maturity that Natsume has gotten throughout this series as well as he's gotten older. It's so good. I love it. Oh. Yeah. Oh, y'all. Y'all. I mean, you never fails. Oh man, this series was trying its hardest to be like, you're gonna cry, and I was like, not today, Natsume's Book of Friends, not today. This is a great episode too. I really like this as a standalone episode. I've liked that we've gotten these 2 standalone episodes. Just FYI, next week is going to be 2 episodes in 1. It's the only 2 episodes in 1 that we have for the season, which will be episodes 55 and 56 or 3 and 4. So I'm excited for that. I'm surprised we only have 1 2-parter when last season we had like 3, but I'm okay with that. That's fine. But yeah, this was a great standalone episode. There were parts of this that were like, I was trying to piece together like, okay, what parts connected from, because I don't think this is anime only. It did not feel like that. But I was like, what parts are anime only in this? Anytime Sasada is on screen, anime only. Anytime Sasada is on screen. And I still don't understand why she's there, because I feel like it's just to meet a quota that they're like, we've got to have a female presence. But they had the other girl in here, so it's like, you didn't need Sasada. I'm just always amazed that Sasada has been absent from the manga since season 1, and they continue to put her in here. I think that at this point, the production team's just like, well, we can't explain her moving away now. Might as well keep her around. So funny. Maybe Sasada is super popular in Japan, and that's why they keep her there. I feel for Nijimura. I really do. Because Nijimura and them going home in the rain, and then the one girl, like him showing up, and it's raining. And the one thing is, I don't know if this is anime only or not, because the girl just popped out of nowhere. Like, they were under the trees, which also, FYI, during a rainstorm, do not stand under trees. Don't stand under trees, especially in a forest. Like, trees, like, that is a lightning conduction waiting to happen. That you are waiting to be struck by lightning if you stand under a tree during a storm. Maybe because it was just a rain and not a thunderstorm, it was okay. But that was like rule 101. During a thunderstorm, do not stand under trees. Don't stand under really tall objects. They will get the lightning. No, don't do that. But since it was just a rainstorm, it probably wasn't that bad. But she just pops in out of nowhere to give him the umbrella. Like screw you, and Kishimoto and Natsume, screw you two. You guys don't get umbrellas, but this guy does. Whether it was anime only or not, I don't know. It was a very weird moment for her to just pop in and give him the umbrella. But I feel for Nijimura, because Nijimura is the only one out of the 3 that seems remotely interested in women. And he's the one that gets done dirty by this girl that has a boyfriend that just offers this random guy an umbrella. But I don't know, maybe, you know what, the proportions in the anime versus the manga, maybe they were right next to the bus stop, and she just was standing there and was like, here, have this umbrella. And that was it for the 3 of them, because the anime makes it seem like they're like 50 yards from the bus that's leaving and the bus stop. But maybe in the manga, they're a lot closer, so it would make more sense. Sometimes when you look at the manga versus the anime, the perspective is a little bit off kilter. So I'm going to go with that. But anyway, and plus maybe she gave it to Nijimura because he doesn't have a book bag, because not taking his homework home, we see who's studious of the group. But anyway, so they all go, and then that's when Natsume gets the towel. I will say, the yokai girl with the towel and her looking like the Ring with her hands out and the hair over until she flips the head up and it is absolutely adorable was kind of creepy. Was really creepy, actually. Especially when she had her hands under the desk and was like, had her head down, was like pulling herself up like the Grudge. That was creepy, y'all. Midori Kawa does not play when it comes to cute and creepy. But anyway, and then her just sitting there like slumped over. Really creepy. Mischievous Rain. So I just, Nyako Sensei saying what a scummy looking towel. Granted, the towel's like 50 years old. So of course it's scummy looking. I cannot imagine what that towel felt and smelled like. But Natsume is a patron saint, so of course he wouldn't say anything negative. But Nyako Sensei makes up for that. But yeah. And then Natsume is like, well, I'll just take it back. And Nyanko's like, you just got a shower. No. And luckily she came in and was walking around looking for him, because if he had gone back out in the rain, he would have gotten sick. I'm like, really, Natsume? Also, I love her little shoes. Like, she's just walking around the house and he can see the footprints. Super cute. I also like that Nyako Sensei has been letting small level yokai into the house to get their names given back. Look, Nyako Sensei is not putting up a very good argument for not wanting names to be given back out from the Book of Friends, because he's like, oh, why are you giving these names back from the Book of Friends? And then he's like letting them in the house to have it done. And he's like, well, you would have gotten mad at me if I hadn't done it. he wouldn't have known if you hadn't done it, Nyanko-sensei. I mean, Nyanko, you're not fooling anybody. So yeah. And then she goes back upstairs, and then she's under the desk. Oh my gosh. I also like how Natsume has grown a little bit, because he's gone from just being freaked out and running away to being like, hey, I'm going to go get you some tea and lay this down here if you want to come back out. Like he's grown a lot, and this episode really shows it in a lot of ways. And she's like, and so they're like, they get it. And of course, Nyanko-sensei, the mochi monster, which is funny, like scares her at first. And then Natsume helps her, like, you know, to figure out what she's looking for. And she's like, I'm looking for someone, a human to give this back to. When she pulled out the paper of what he looks like, just the stick figure with the little shit's hair, I was like, Natsume, your drawing skills from that OVA we just watched are not much better. I love, she's like, he looks like this. Well, becoming a sketch artist for the police force is not in your future, girl. But that was the funniest thing. And Natsume, I like that Natsume is honest, where he's like, I can't find him looking like this. I love Natsume's come so far, and that he's also willing to be like, I feel season 1 anime Natsume, he'd either be really, really scared of the yokai, or he would have been like, yeah, we can find him. This is a great sketch. But here, you know, 5 seasons in, he's like, this is not enough detail. So funny. That was really, really funny. Also, I think the fact that the little yokai girl was like, I'll put a curse on anybody that you want if you help me find him. That was a little dark. I'm glad we didn't go down that route. I'm glad instead he's like, I'll try to help you, but I don't know what to do. And I like Natsume's like, do I help her? Do I not help her? Do I send her away? Will that make her mad? What do we do about that? I like that he contemplates what the right course of action is and what he thinks he should do. And then him and Nyanko-sensei end up helping her. She's so adorable, though. I mean, she's also strong. She lifted Natsume up like it was nothing, and Nyanko was like, put him down! He breaks easily! But she was super adorable. I'm glad it worked out for them to help each other. Also, damn, Toko girl, making salmon and rice for breakfast for you and Shigure. I mean, girl gets it. I had this vulgar thought. Whenever Natsume's like, hey, I'm going out. And they're like, okay, have fun. I just had this vulgar thought, girl. Y'all, whenever this is so vulgar and I'm so sorry, but all I could think of in my head for a second was how much kinky stuff, not even kinky, how much shenanigans do you think Shigure and Toko get down while Natsume's gone? They're like, have fun, son. Like, no, I'd be jumping Shigure's bones all the time if I was Toko. Just saying. If that was my jam, just saying. Or at least, like, making out with him. Anyway, so I really like the idea of Natsume holding her hand as they go through the crowd so that she doesn't get lost. And also, if he just holds his hand out and she's holding it, it's not that noticeable in a crowd of people. So I think that that's super cute. But I'm glad we didn't have, like, a maze of people to wade through. I was getting a little anxious at that part, and we instantly go out into the countryside to the bus stop, which was great. When she said it was over 50 years ago, there's an instant like zoom in on Natsume's eyes, and it's like at that point it sinks in, oh, you've had that scummy towel for half a century. Okay. At that point, Natsume is just sitting there like, yeah, okay. I see how this is. Like he just instantly understands that the possibility of them actually finding him is not great. So I was like, oh no. And so, you know, but he's already committed, so he doesn't want to just tell her that there's no chance of them seeing him again. And so he's like, well, maybe we can find him, you know, he might have moved if we can't find his old house, you know, how do we get a contact? We don't know his name. So what do we do? And then I do love the idea that we discover the girl because she smells like the grandpa and Natsume smells like Reiko, that's the connection that we make, which is really smart. I like that. But the yokai just wants to give the towel back. She's like, I just want to give the towel back. I've held on to it for 50 years. I want to see him again, give it back, and just get that closure, which is good. Which I like that because yokai are essentially ghosts. and ghosts often have unfinished business in, some cultures, like Western tradition, ghosts or spirits have unfinished business. So I like the idea of this yokai just wanting to give it back, just to have that closure. It's like when the yokai come to get their names back. They just want that closure after all this time. But damn, I'm surprised Natsume did not get a restraining order from this girl. Because the first time Natsume goofs it up, he's like, I'm looking for your grandfather. And she's like, and when she gets offended at first, I wondered if, she thought he was mocking him, or if she was like, no, he's not here. Or I thought she was going to say he died. I was waiting for her to be like, he passed away 2 years ago. What are you talking about? And I was going to be like, Urgh. So I'm glad it was just that he was in the hospital, because I was afraid that it was going to go down a really dark route. And I was like, eh. But how this girl did not give Natsume a restraining order. Luckily, I don't think he'll ever see her again, because he just... And then the grandpa in the hospital, when Natsume comes back the second time, I'm surprised not. My grandfather said you were awfully persistent. But Natsume just wants to find out where he is. I think there's also a lesson to be learned here for Natsume, because at first he tries to kind of lie and say, well, I'm looking for the grandpa in this. And she's like, well, that doesn't make sense. And she gets weirded out and leaves. But he eventually comes around. He doesn't say he's helping a yokai, but he says, oh, I want to help someone I know to find him again and give him back this thing. And when he's honest, it works out much better for him than when he's trying to tell the lie. And I feel like that's an inadvertent lesson to Natsume, being like, don't tell the lie. It's not going to work. Especially, like, you can lie to yokai sometimes and fool them, but you're not going to fool a human. It's just not going to happen, right? And then the friend's like, come on, let's get out of here. I like that the friend was like, he was kind of hot. And she was like, poor Natsume. All these girls in different points of the manga and anime saying that he's hot. And Natsume's like, I'm not even interested in any of them. But yeah, I failed talking to her. And I like the little yokai. I like that she thanks Natsume, and she's just like happy he's attempting to help give her information. And so anyway, I like Sasada says you're looking glum. I'm like, well, you weren't in the manga to say this. And then that's when Kishimura's like, I went to return her umbrella, and she was there with her boyfriend. Poor Kishimura. I hope he finds somebody, because I feel for him. And I love that Natsume's like, it's the Zuko Avatar. That's rough, buddy. Poor Nishimura. I feel for him. Where's Kishimoto to cheer him up too, But yeah, I'm really, very, very glad that this girl did not just run away from Natsume, and he ended up talking to her, explaining who he is, and it ended up working out. But yeah, the moment that the yokai, she's like, oh, she called you a liar because of me, and I'm sorry. It's like all of those moments where Natsume's been called a liar for interacting with the yokai in the past. It's just another one of those moments. But I like that, unlike in the past when that would have really affected Natsume, he kind of just lets it roll off of him. He's like, no, it's fine. It's like that girl, it's okay. We're just trying to help you. But for the yokai to be sincere and be self-aware and be sorry for that, I love that, because it's like the breadth and the variance in the yokai and how they understand human interactions. It varies per yokai, which is so funny because it's so similar to humans and human interactions and how they vary. So it's like, we're not so different, you and I, the yokai and the humans. There are differences, sometimes very big differences, but at the same time, there's a lot of similarities, right? I will say though, that girl seeing that man, he was super cute. He was a cute man. The granddaughter looks a lot like him. And then he helps her with the towel. I think it's so interesting. And honestly, it kind of makes sense, because we've seen, like, with Karikami in season 4, where she could see the yokai in the shrine at the very end before he disappeared, and some of the other human interactions. Like, obviously we have Taki, and we'll talk about Taki in the circle and that moment, and Tanuma, who's had through means of being able to see the yokai too. But I like that throughout this show, it has been established that given the right circumstances, the right conditions, some humans can see yokai in various instances, and that's it. And the day that there was the sun shower and she was dancing in it, he just happened to be able to see her that one time. And it was just that one moment, but that was it. It's kind of like when people say they've seen a ghost once and then they can never see it again. Sort of something similar, right? But then it was so sad that she could never see him again, that he never saw her after that. She definitely reminded me of the fox spirit. She reminded me a lot of the fox spirit, especially when she was in her little grotto and she was holding the towel up and like dancing around with it, like, oh, my little towel. It reminded me of the fox spirit with the watch and the other materials, right? It was super, super cute. And she's like, it was so soft and warm. It made me feel wonderful. And then she's like, I went to give it back, but he never accepted it because he couldn't see me anymore. My thing was, I don't know why she didn't just leave the towel on the bench of the bus stop, because it was a real towel. So if she just laid it there folded up, wouldn't he see it? But maybe she was worried that somebody else would run off with it or that he wouldn't grab it. So, and maybe she wanted to actually be the one to give it back to him and see him. So that could have been it. But I figure after, so many years, she would have eventually given it back to him. But for a yokai, that stretch of time probably doesn't seem like a lot. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it was really sad, her just dancing in front of him and he never saw her, and her just being, when she had just this serene look on her face, like as she was watching him, being like, okay, he can't see me, but it's okay. I can see him. You weren't going to make me cry, show. No, 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 no. And she's like, just knowing he's safe is enough for me. And of course, Natsume can't take that. Natsume's like, that's not enough. We've got to get that towel back so that you can, have closure and all of this. And so then he chases down the girl, who at this point will probably have filed a restraining order. And then she tells him where the hospital is, so he'll get off her case. And he goes to the hospital, to Yamato Hospital number 2. So and I like that she stays with him the night before. It's super cute. And then Natsume that night, though, he's like, even if we do go, he probably won't be able to see her. And then he's like, should I go borrow the circle that Taki's grandfather used? And then he makes a point of saying that doesn't always work. He's like, sometimes you have to be like Taki and Tanuma and have a certain amount of power to be able to see them anyway. And he's like, and last time, he's like, that circle I'm assuming he's not talking about the circle with the grandfather incident, because that ended up giving her closure. But before, when they were battling that one yokai, it did try to hurt her. And he's like, I don't really know if I want to bring up those feelings for another person. And I don't blame Natsume, because it's like, if he brought the girl up to the old man and he remembered, would that make him restless? Because there is a large possibility, even if he sees her with the circle that Taki makes, there's a large possibility that he won't be able to keep it and he won't be able to see her again after that. So would that just torture him more than anything? So it's like, what do we do? And then he questions, he's like, people in yokai, if they never interacted, then they never would have suffered. But I mean, it's one of those, like, is it better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all? Like, he brings out the point. He's like, this could end badly for both of them. The yokai could not get closure that she wants. He might not, remember, or if he does remember, is it going to hurt him? And Natsume's like, would it be better off if we never interacted at all? But then you see the happiness that it brings her in that moment, and she gets the towel to keep at the end. And it's like, no, it is kind of worth it. It's just, there's always gambles and risks when it's kind of like getting in a relationship with anybody. Is it better to have never met that person and never have suffered? Or is it better to have known them and loved them and had that heartbreak? And I like that he tries to ask Nyanko his opinion, but Nyanko just ignores him because he's like, I'm not getting into this discussion this late at night. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting that Madara doesn't answer him and answer the question. He wants Natsume to work it out for himself, right? So he goes to the hospital, brings a towel, and at first she doesn't go with him to see him, but then when he actually gets there, he asks if you remember, and he's like, no. And I'm not surprised he doesn't remember, because that was 50 years ago at a random bus stop. He saw one girl for one afternoon and gave her a towel. Like, it's not enough to ask him to remember. And so I totally understand that. And I don't feel bad that he doesn't remember. But Natsume's like, ugh. And then we find out that she was standing there watching him. And at first Natsume's like worried, because what is she going to think? And then she's like, no, that's enough. I feel like it was kind of good that he didn't remember, because this allowed her to have closure. She's like, she gave him the towel back and he didn't remember. So he's not going to be tortured by not remembering. She's not going to constantly worry about if he's going to ever remember her. It's just, it's done. It's a case closed moment. But you do kind of feel bad for her in that instance because she doesn't have a memento of him. It's just she gave the towel back, and it's like that relationship is that literally that book is closed and there's nothing to remember them by, which ties back to the Book of Friends because Reiko kept all of their names as keepsakes so she wouldn't forget about them. And so she could hold on to those relationships and keep them alive, even if, you know, she didn't want that closure. She wanted to keep those names to know she's not alone. But for this little yokai, she's like, no, I'm fine. Even though, you know, she's not really fine, but there's nothing she can do about it. And so when Natsume goes back the next day to get the towel, to like, he asks for a memento. He's like, I just want to give her something to know that you got the towel. And that's when he gives the really super cute little pink towel with the little flowers on it. Like, y'all, that's adorable. And she's so happy that she has that memento in that moment. She's like, I would hate for this little towel to get wet. That reminds me of the Book of Friends. It's like Reiko didn't want to let go of those relationships with those yokai. So even though it could bring her pain in the future and could bring those yokai pain, she's like, I'm going to keep your names and have this book of them. And then if I ever need to see any of you, I'll be able to. It's also kind of funny because she's set up for Natsume to take these names and give them back. But by giving them back, he's also making acquaintances and building these relationships as well with the yokai, which I'm sure Reiko didn't plan for that when she got the book, but it's just a fun after effect as we've gone through. So what a charming little episode. How cute. When the grandpa, when they got to the hospital room, I was like, show don't. And I'm glad that it didn't end too bittersweet. It was a nice little closure, bookend, finish the whole story. It was nice. They could have gone very melodramatic with this episode and been like, we're going to jerk the tears out of you and siphon them into a bottle. But I'm glad they decided not to go that route. I'm glad they decided to like not let that be the case because I did not need that to happen. No, sir. No, sir. So this was super cute. I loved this. I loved every bit of this. Adorable. So I'm super happy about this season 5 so far. I'm sad we don't have any more manga to look at for right now, but next week we do have 2 episodes to watch in one. So cha-ching! We're going to be looking at episodes 55 and 56, aka episodes 3 and 4 of season 5. I'm super excited to hear your thoughts down below about what you thought about this episode. It was super cute. The little yokai was adorable. And I like that Natsume is, he's being more realistic with his goals, which I like a lot this season. He wants to help the yokai. He's interacting with humans in order to help the yokai. But he's also making things realistic. He's like, okay, look, in all fairness, what can we do and what can't we do? And he's starting to apply that, which is very mature. And I like that. So yeah, I'm excited to see where next week's going to take us, especially with being 2 episodes. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care. And yeah, I'll be back very soon with episode 55 and 56, 3 and 4 of Natsume's Book of Friends. Bye.